Hi, my name is Morgan Vaughan. We are here today. This is Facts at 5 on LTV. It is Monday, April 13th, 2020, and I am here with Chrissy Sampson from the East Hampton Star.
Hello.
This is the start of week 3, I think, for us. You have been fantastic. Thank you for being here. Okay, let's start with ultra local.
So East Hampton Town is recommending now face coverings in public in East Hampton Town. Now, as you may remember, Southampton Village did something similar last week by requiring face coverings in supermarkets. We're still a little unclear on that as far as like enforcement.
Right.
But what we do know is now this week, based on the Centers for Disease Control guidance, Supervisor Peter Van Scoyoc has announced, please wear face masks whenever possible. This is also being reported by all of our local media outlets across the board. Everyone's picked up this message. And so Mr. Van Scoyoc is also asking for donations of gloves and masks for grocery store workers. If anyone here can spare any, I know that, they're tough to find right now, tough to come by. A collection box is set up outside Town Hall and also at the police department headquarters in Wainscott for those donations.
Excellent. And I've been noticing that everybody seems to be abiding, as many people as possible, to wearing the face masks everywhere that I've gone when I had to go to the grocery store, et cetera, for those essential things.
Now, I saw 2 people in Speedway without a mask, which worried me, but
Right.
we'll see how it goes. I hope everybody has a mask that they can wear.
And we have a bunch of people who are making them, the LVIS. LTV just produced a video about how to make simple cloth ones. And there's a whole bunch of resources about that too. So hopefully we can do that, even a bandana or a scarf, which is what I do a lot. Okay, statistics. So this is the statistics through 1 p.m. on April 13th today. There is 21,907 confirmed cases in Suffolk County at this time. So this is up to yesterday, I think, or today?
Up to today at 1
today.
p.m.
At 1 p.m.
More than 21,900 cases.
Okay, 97 in East Hampton, 307 in Southampton, which is obviously more than 3 times East Hampton. How much bigger is Southampton, though, than East Hampton?
It's a significant size. I mean, they have
Right.
more hamlets and villages, more people involved from Southampton out to Hampton Bays and Quogue and that sort of thing. So it's tough to pinpoint, particularly when the population varies by season.
Right.
Just how many people are here. We can look into that.
Well, what I think what Suffolk County is doing, which is great, is that they're saying how many cases per 1,000. So Southampton is 5.31 cases per 1,000. East Hampton is 4.44 cases per 1,000. And then you go closer to the city, and it gets crazy. Like Babylon, 4.29, so 14 people per 1,000 people.
What about Islip? Islip has a big number.
Islip has 16.82, so round up, so 17 people per 1,000 people. That's a big number. So hopefully those numbers will stay up the island, and we will continue to enjoy less density, and hopefully this will stay more up there.
The factor is density. Governor Cuomo this morning talked about that on his daily briefing, is that, the reason why you're seeing clusters is that density factor.
Right.
And, it's hard to tell in some cases
Right.
why you've had a little cluster here and there. But one of the concerns why we're still focused on it out here is because up island and in the city, there are many more medical resources than there are out here.
Right.
So that's why controlling the infection rate is still really important.
Right. I mean, that is the issue out here, is in terms of getting people help that they need if they need it. And so that's why we're asking everybody to stay home. Okay, we had some need-to-know news today about the storm tonight. It's predicted.
Right. So the inclement weather has closed temporarily many of the testing sites, the drive-through testing sites, because those folks were outdoors in tents. It's hard to manage, every day, especially when you have something like this, out of the blue. And so Riverhead Local is reporting that is the case in Riverhead right now, that the drive-through testing sites are closed. They are expected to open tomorrow as long as the weather is better.
Okay.
And since all testing was by appointment, officials are saying those appointments are being rescheduled as soon as possible.
Okay. And we do have those numbers up on the slides on the end to get tested in Riverhead. Actually, I should have gone back to this, but this is from today too, that the New York deaths right now top 10,000 for the first time, obviously. At least 10,056 people have died from coronavirus in New York State. But, and Cuomo said that there were 671 deaths in his state on Sunday. He says the worst is over, but he's saying the worst is over if New Yorkers continue to be smart going forward. And so we're controlling the spread, but we need to continue to isolate.
And 400 of those deaths, about 400 of those deaths have been in Suffolk County since the start of the outbreak.
Wow. Okay. All right, Chrissy, I think you have something to say about, well, mental health, which is something that, for heaven's sake, I think all of us are struggling with. Even if we don't have a confirmed diagnosis, this is a trying time. This is a traumatic, trying time for everyone.
Yeah, so tomorrow, 10 a.m., Newsday is hosting an online talk about coping with COVID-19. It's an important subject because it's impacting all of us in some way. We're isolated, we're stressed out, we're depressed. And even if, like you said, if you don't have a pre-existing mental health diagnosis, it's still impacting us.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, the Newsday talk is free, but registration is required. It'll cover stress, anxiety, depression, resources, and supporting loved ones, how we can be there for each other, even if we're not next to each other holding hands, Here in East Hampton, we have some amazing health professionals at the Family Service League and in private practitioners like Mary Bromley. She told the East Hampton Star last week that to cope, we should focus on something higher. Her quote was this: "This is a time to talk to your family, make up with people you have issues with, and focus on what's important. We can't see those people except for Facebook and Zoom, or FaceTime and Zoom, but this is the biggest challenge that she has encountered." And she's been in this business for quite some time in the mental health field. So heed what she says, look for something higher to put your focus on. We talked last week about faith.
Right.
And, here she's recommending talk to your loved ones, make up with somebody if you have been on the outs with them, that sort of thing. This is a good time to connect however we can.
And I also want to say that I was just in White's picking up a prescription, and I'm not supposed to say anything great about, because it's happening all over. But those people, the pharmacists, are unbelievable. The amount of work that White's and CVS, but I was in White's today, are doing to help people. And they look stressed. They do. And so I want a big shout out to all of the pharmacists out there. And we need to be kind and we need to be patient because it is a trying time. And I think that cannot be said enough.
Exactly.
Today. Be gentle with each other. So what's going on with the post offices? Okay, so locally we had a little thing last week about the hours changing in East Hampton.
Right, and that was really just a note because the larger issue is that you'll see some precautions in place now that we haven't been used to seeing before. Big clear plastic tarps, plexiglass
crosses on the
walls.
ground to step on to stay away from each other.
Yeah, I mean, they're physical barriers between clerks and other people. Some of the post offices are limiting the number of people who can be in that little customer service lobby. And, last week at East Hampton, there was a line to get into the lobby stretching back through that little hallway where all the P.O. boxes are.
Okay.
And be prepared to, you can dash in and out to get your mail, but if you've got a yellow card or a package, be prepared to leave some time for the post office today. But, and like we said, the hour that East Hampton is closing every day from 1 to 2, they're just taking a little break.
Okay.
But, on the federal level, there's a lot happening with the post offices as well.
Well, there's a lot of news about it, and a lot of people, I've been reading a lot of posts about how we're going to save the post office because, and this is from Vox, there's several articles, though, about this, and you should look this up, but the U.S. Postal Service, like many American businesses, is suffering, obviously, from the coronavirus. People aren't sending letters, people aren't at work, et cetera. Last week, members of Congress were informed by the USPS that it would run out of cash in September without federal assistance. In general, Democrats have been amenable to getting them help, and Republicans want to privatize the post office. That is in general. there are, and what I think the writer wrote was good. There are a lot of complexities in the long-term postal policy picture in the United States because obviously the world has changed. We have email, we have different things. There's different things that the post office is going to be able to do. But the immediate crisis is actually pretty simple. Mail volumes are plunging, taking USPS revenue down with them. And unless something is done relatively quickly to make up for those lost revenues, it's hard to see how significant layoffs and service reductions can't be avoided. I read something that actually Nixon said in the 1970s when the post office workers struck then. And the amount of people who rely on the post office for their Social Security checks, for their mail from their mail from their grandkids. The amount that we actually rely on is pretty incredible. I can't quite imagine how the world will work without the post office. I'd be interested to see how it would, but I don't really wonder. But that, I just thought was an interesting little context. Definitely look it up for yourself, but in terms of what's going on right now with the post office. Okay, good news.
Well, here's a little nice story out of Sag Harbor. Our friends at the Express News Group had the story this week. There's a new Facebook group called Sag Harbor Helpers. And this group was started to help senior citizens get food and necessities and has really turned into something that's greater than the sum of its parts. So this is the work of Cynthia Capalbo, who has shied away a lot from a lot of the credit because she wants the focus to be on the spirit of giving and helping. And she doesn't want the focus on her, but she happens to be the one who started it. And, you know, this has really gotten some great efforts out there. I mean, meal trains, monetary donations, gifts of food from favorite places like Tate's, Grindstone, Round Swamp Farm, TASH, which is the Teachers Association of Sag Harbor. They started house accounts at the local grocery stores so that people who are taking part can source food and, materials to make food for people. And it really shows that it takes a village. You know, when things are tough, that's how we'll get through it together. It takes a village, and kudos to the Sag Harbor Helpers.
That is an excellent story. I love that. Okay. All right. So tonight on LTV on Channel 22, the planning board will be, this is a programming note, the planning board will be on 22. And we think that the trustees meeting will be live streamed on a YouTube channel. And we'll have the link on the crawl for the call-in number for the meeting for the trustees. But the planning board will be on Channel 22. That is my programming note. Chrissy, do you have anything to add for today?
Wash your hands.
Oh, yeah, wash your hands.
I will always say that.
At least 50 times a day. And then my new one is I take off my shoes, which is very Canadian of me, I think. I always think of Canadians with that, but before I go in the house, my husband is the one who's staying at home right now. I take off my shoes and I jump into the shower. I don't know if that's scientific at all, but that's what I do. All right, lovely. Well, we will be back tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and thank you so much. Stay home, stay safe.